close your eyes for a second and actually imagine yourself just laying on the beach, relaxing. Welcome back to another episode of This Thing of Ours podcast,
where we talk about all of life's highs and lows
and everything in between.
So, how was your week? You had to drive out to Montreal?
Yeah, it was my first time driving by myself. At first, it was super scary just because there's so many cars on the road, and I left around rush hour time, so super nervous about that. But I made it through. I made it there and made it back safely, as you guys can tell.
You didn't get lost?
Speaking of getting lost, okay. So as soon as I left Montreal, I put on the GPS to get me back to Ottawa. Tell me how, okay? The GPS took me through the most criminal mind scene you could ever think of. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, you know what? GPS is taking me this way. It's probably the quickest way to get back home. And then all of a sudden, she just goes, GPS lost. I was like, you better not be lost. You better find me. You brought me through this. What do you mean? Like, maybe she meant, like, obviously the signal was lost, but I feel like if you knew that there was no signal going through that way, why would you take it that way? Like, you know what I mean? Like, come on now. You're supposed to be smarter than me. Okay, you're the smartphone. Clearly. But yeah, she got me lost just a little bit. And I had to pull off the highway to fix her. And then, everything was fine from there. But she actually did it twice. She did it on the way there, and then she did it on the way back.
In the same area?
No, it was a totally different area. I took a whole different route. Yeah. Like, I went straight from work, and then on the way back, obviously, I took the faster way to get back here.
Yeah. See, I know GPS.
Unless it is the same route.
Yeah. GPS is kind of weird. Like, I know, especially with construction, in construction zones, like, she's a hot mess.
Montreal always
and she never knows what she's doing and tells you to take one way and gets you lost all the time. I don't know if you guys experienced that, but
have you ever gotten lost with the GPS?
Yeah.
And not because you took the wrong turn, because you weren't listening. But yeah, I definitely got lost.
Honestly, I feel like GPS should have its own like speech recognition. Like, you should be able to talk to her and she should be able to respond, saying like, "Wait, what'd you say?" Because you're not paying attention, right? You're just driving along, and then you just repeat it like, "Oh shoot, what'd you say? Which exit?"
Yeah, repeat yourself.
Yeah.
And then it's like, all right, turn right on whatever street.
Yeah. I really feel like that should be a feature they add to it.
Yeah, something that recognizes certain words so it can repeat itself.
Yeah,
I agree.
Sure.
That's definitely.
It would definitely help a lot. So Google, if you're listening.
They're always listening.
Anyway, that's for another topic.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, getting off the GPS topic, about this podcast, we're going to touch on what we briefly spoke about there last week. And it's just how society kind of makes us feel like we need to spend money to be happy or to have fun or to do things that will bring us pleasure in a way.
And if you haven't seen last week's episode of In Our 20s, we will post a link in the description below or post a card above here, and we will show you a sneak peek of what you missed. That's probably the number one thing I would tell myself. Don't try to fit in. Just be you. The world will adjust and save your money, because, what's going to be in this year isn't going to be in maybe next year, and then you're going to be donating it. Can we normalize being basic? I feel like that is something that I've learned. So you just saw a sneak peek of me talking about how I felt like I had to spend money to fit in, and I wasn't really happy. So I actually have a question to ask you, and obviously ask you because you're my co-host of This Thing of Ours podcast. Do you feel like money makes you happy? Or let me ask you it in a different way. Do you feel like you are overall happy, or do you feel like you have happy moments?
Yeah, I guess they're very different questions if you ask them that way. Because I feel like, yes, spending money in the moment, you're going to be happy. So I feel like majority of the time, yes, I'm having happy moments. But overall, I feel like I am happy with periods where I'm not happy, because something comes up or something disrupts my day,
Mm-hmm.
um, and that makes me temporarily unhappy.
Okay, yeah.
That's how I feel I am. But I can agree with you on the fact that, like, in my past, before I kind of went inward and kind of like reflected on myself and what I was doing with my life and things like that, I feel
Mm-hmm.
like I was unhappy with happy moments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
I definitely feel like there is a combination of both for me. I am happy overall, but I also feel like sometimes I'm just mellow. Is that the right way to say it? Like I'm just calm, and
Yeah.
then I get super excited about something new that's happening. So it's like a new goal that I'm setting, and then we hit that goal.
Mm,
And so I feel like I'm always thriving for the next happy thing, and kind of like forgetting about, oh, I prayed for this moment. Now that I got it, I'm just like, okay, now I got this moment. What's the next thing? And I feel like maybe sometimes that's kind of affecting my happiness because I forgot that, I prayed for this moment, I got the moment, and I'm still in it, but now I'm looking at something else that I want to achieve. So, like, now I'm constantly looking at that happiness. I'm
yeah,
constantly looking
yeah.
for more happiness.
So basically, you may enjoy it briefly,
Hmm.
but not as much as you should be enjoying the
Yeah.
fact that you achieve what you originally set out to achieve.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But overall, I do think I'm happy. Like, what is the definition of happiness? Let's Google that. We're going to put the definition on the screen. Let me know which one you're using. Are you using Oxford or are you using, what's her name? Merriam-Webster?
Yeah, it's Webster's dictionary.
Okay.
So
Happiness. What is the definition?
the definition of happiness is a state of well-being and contentment,
Mhm.
a pleasurable or satisfying experience.
See, and that's what we briefly talked about just now, like having experience of happiness and then always thriving to constantly try to be happy.
Hmm.
Like, am I making sense?
Yeah. But see, like, you kind of mentioned it too, being just calm and just mellow and chill and just being content with
Hmm.
what you have and with what's going on in your life.
Yeah, because then I feel like I'm almost settling, right?
Hmm.
If I'm not constantly trying to find more happiness, I almost feel like I'm just settling for what I have.
Yeah, but it did say in that definition,
Mm-hmm.
a state of contentment.
Yeah.
So, are you happy with what you have without needing more?
Mm-hmm.
So, I feel like always wanting more
Mm-hmm.
may mean that we aren't actually
Happy.
happy because we want more. We constantly want to reach a next goal, which I kind of agree with and I don't agree with, because I feel like, isn't that what life is all about, is, setting goals and reaching goals and, just growing and getting to next levels in life.
I definitely feel like there has to be more to life than just waking up, going to work, and calling it a day. There
Hmm.
has to be more to life. Has
Yeah.
to be.
And it could be something simple as, like, you've always wanted to move out of your city and you move.
Yeah.
You wanted to start a family, so you start a family. So it doesn't have to be like a goal of like financially or anything like that. I just feel like anything that you've always wanted to do, traveling, things like that. And I feel like those could be goals for people and make them happy
You have a friend that just, randomly just picks up and goes. Like,
whenever they want. Yeah.
yeah. They work a couple of months and next thing you know, they're in a whole new country traveling.
Yep.
I admire people like that. I really do. I really do. Like, that's bravery because I am trying to get out of my shell. And these people are just, they're traveling, living life.
Yeah. No, I know. I actually read somewhere that, I forget the percentage, but it was high. A certain percentage of people live within 20 to 30 kilometers of where they grew up. Yeah, and
Oh,
it's a
wow.
high percentage. So, like,
Well,
even
I
if
definitely live far.
if they do move out of their city, they end up moving back.
Mm.
That was part of the article too. But yeah, I find it crazy how some people can just like up and leave. They just, I've seen everything I can see here. Let's go explore something else.
Yeah.
I feel like that's actually really cool, but
Would you do that?
I don't know, because I don't know if I would feel secure in doing that.
Mm.
Because I mean, if you're constantly switching jobs, like, you have to put money aside for yourself,
Mhm.
for your future.
But they always can find a job, I guess, like, in the country that they're in. I think they have
Hmm.
to apply for just like a visa or something.
No, you can, but you need to worry about your retirement
Yeah.
yourself, because you won't have
Okay.
no pension,
Mm.
right? You'll get your basic CPP pension, Canadian pension plan here in Canada, just from your paychecks. They take a little bit off, but you won't get anything from your work,
Oh,
because
okay, yeah.
you wouldn't have been there long enough to
Mhm.
receive anything,
Well,
right?
life is too short, I guess. I
Yeah.
mean, if you want to live your life, travel, do what you got to do. Like,
Yeah.
enjoy
If
life.
that makes you happy,
Yeah.
if those are things that make you happy, by all means.
If you guys have done that before, let us know in the comments below. Let us know what your experience was and where did you go to do
Mm.
this or try this. But going back to what you were saying about picking up and leaving, um, why do you think that some people return back to their hometown?
Um, Honestly, I feel like family and friends, if they still stay in contact with their friends, I feel like that is where true happiness may lie for majority of people.
Mm.
Um, so I feel like being away, you're almost missing a part of yourself. You know
Okay.
what I mean? So I
Do you
feel
feel
like
like that? Because now you're hours away from your family, where I'm
um
still closer to mine now.
some days, yes, it pops in my head there, and obviously I do miss my family on some days. But I feel like I haven't been away long enough to really feel like I need to go back.
Yeah.
I haven't reached goals or experienced enough in this new city to feel like I've done it all here and I should move back. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. It's funny that we brought up the topic of happiness just because on Monday I was actually listening to a TED talk on Spotify, and just let you know, quick interruption, we are on Spotify and Apple, SoundCloud, and not just on YouTube. But if you're listening to this podcast right now on any of those platforms, come over to YouTube or go over to those podcast players and subscribe there, rate us, leave a comment. We will always answer your comments and we look forward to talking to you.
Yeah.
Don't forget to subscribe and like this video.
Anyway, where were you going?
Yeah, so I was listening to the TED Talk interview on Spotify, and I was just googling, happiness and seeing what was coming up. And I was listening to one of the interviews, and she made a good point about happiness. She said how like there's different levels of happiness, and I feel like that's kind of related to what you mentioned about experiences and moments of happiness.
Hmm.
And she was talking about time affluence.
Okay, what's time affluence?
About feeling. Oh my god, you're really putting me on the spot. I'm trying to remember now. She said something about like it means feeling like you don't have enough time to do the
Mm.
things you want to do, and she was kind of comparing that to happiness. And I'm gonna leave that link in the description below if you guys want to listen to that interview. I think it's a really good interview. It kind of like made me open my ears a little bit. It's just something a little bit different. So if you want to listen to it, it's in the description below. But yeah, she was talking about time affluence. Do you want to go quickly? Just make sure I gave them the right definition. While else he's doing that, yeah, she was talking about time affluence of feeling like you may not have enough time to do the things you want to do. And then she briefly asked the question, like, would you guys rather, because she was doing like a survey, and she asked the question, would you rather take a cheaper flight and then get to your destination, like your vacation, a couple hours later? Or would you rather pay for a more expensive flight and then get there on time? And then I think she said how like people who chose their time over the money were more happy.
Hmm.
I believe that's what she said.
Yeah,
Comment
that is
below
what it said.
if you guys agree with that answer. And what would you guys choose? Would you guys choose the later flight, or would you guys choose the earlier flight and pay more? Yeah.
Okay, so I got the definition here.
What is it?
So time affluence this feeling of having control and feeling like you have enough time on an everyday basis
Yeah.
can promote happiness. So if you have enough time to do the things that you want to do, you'll be more happy than if you feel like you don't have enough time to do things.
Mhm.
And I feel like,
This kind of relates to our other podcast too that we talked about.
which one's that?
What do you do for fun?
Oh
We're
yeah,
gonna leave a link in the description below, and we're also gonna show this is a quick sneak peek.
might as well.
Why not, right? We
Yep.
talked about it. So here's a sneak peek of what do you do for fun. I come home and I'm so tired. Like I feel like at work it drains me like mentally.
Yeah.
And even though I have so many goals, I just feel like I've spent so much time at work thinking about those goals that I have to do when I get home. And I get home and I'm like, I am tired. I always interrupt you. Go on with what you're saying. Sorry about that.
What was I saying?
You briefly were talking about about how if you feel like you have time.
Oh yes. I feel like that's another thing that, working a 9 to 5 kind of puts us in a bad spot for, because it does take up a lot of time.
Yeah, you're like 8 hours, man.
It takes up a lot of your day. And then when you do get home, you're so tired. Like you just don't want to do anything. It's very hard to get motivated to do anything. I feel like anyway, to do the things that you want to do, and have hobbies and go out with friends and do things. I feel like that's almost reserved for the weekend,
Hmm.
and I feel like that's why people live for the weekend.
Yeah.
I don't know.
See, now that I actually have kind of reflect on that time affluence, I didn't know that was a thing before. For me, I do feel like when I was younger, I was going out more, even after work. Like I had all the energy. Like you want to go shopping after work? I'll be like,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I'll come with you. Or you want to go out to a restaurant? I'm like, yeah, I'll come. I don't mind. After work. And I was working a 9 to 5. Sometimes I was starting at 6 a.m. and finishing at 5, but I still had energy. Now it's like I'm coming home and some days I am tired, but I am starting to pull out my computer, work on this podcast and, do different things, but then I fall asleep.
I feel like it's different when you have something that you're excited about.
Mm.
That gives you a little boost, even if you're tired. If you get motivated about the things that you want to do to be happy, and your different hobbies and things like that,
Mhm.
it's kind of like working out. You got to get over that hump
Mm.
of
Struggling.
you have to start building the habit of getting into the hobby, and then you'll start getting more excited about going to do that hobby. Or I don't know, I just feel like there's a hump you need to get over, where you'll end up starting to get more excited about doing it.
Yeah, like
You know?
decide to go to the gym because you're gonna start seeing gains and things like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I understand what you mean.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about the money now and happiness. Do you think this is a question for you guys too? Answer in the comment section below if you guys want to talk about it. Do you find that money leads to happiness? Because she did also say that there was what is it called? Financial affluence part?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. She also talked about that.
Okay.
So she said you have to have both almost, I think, that will lead to a more happier life.
Yeah.
And I do agree with that as well. I mean, you can have less money, but still more time and you're still happy. Some people are just happy sitting on the couch and watching YouTube. Some people are just happy doing certain things.
Mm.
I have to say that, yes, there are times where I sit down on this couch and I'm listening to a podcast, or I'm just, watching my favorite TV show, and I still feel joy.
Yeah.
Do I feel like I should be more productive? Of course. But I still feel some type of happiness
Yeah.
to it.
I do agree with the financial affluence and needing money to somewhat be happy, because let's face it, if bills aren't paid, or if they're getting behind on
You
bills,
get
or
stress.
yes, that stress builds up heavy.
Mhm.
So it's very hard to be happy and live in the moment and enjoy the things that you're doing, even if it's something that normally would bring you joy.
Mhm.
It's hard to be happy because that financial stress is always in the back of your mind.
Yeah. There's been a couple of times where we were doing stuff that brought us joy, but then I was still thinking about, well, I have to pay this bill.
Mhm.
So I don't know if I should really and truly go ahead and do that. I couldn't really enjoy what was bringing me happy because I was thinking about, well, I need this money now to do something else. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Shouldn't you really be spending that money because it could go to paying the other thing? And
Yeah.
not that it wouldn't get paid, it's just it will leave you with less,
Yeah.
right? You'll have less money left over because you have bills to pay, and that's going to take a good chunk of what you have.
Mm-hmm.
So I get that too. There are times where I would like to do more, that things that do cost money,
Costs
but
more money than we want
yeah,
to spend.
but I opt out of it because I know that there's bills that need to be paid, and I don't want to leave myself with like nothing. You know what I
Mm.
mean? So
You don't want to pay. You don't want to spend your whole paycheck, is what you're saying.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
Do you think that there should be both in order for like happiness to like actually to feel content with life?
the time and money,
Yes.
I do feel like you need a good blend of both.
Mm.
Because I mean, the time one, that's very important. Um, Valuing your time
Which one
is,
would you take? Would you spend more money to get there earlier, or would you pay less to get there later?
I feel like it really would depend
Mm-hmm.
on the situation. Um, if I had something to do, and let's say I had my laptop that I can work on something and use my time productively, which would work towards a goal, let's say, that I want to achieve, then I would use that time productively and be happy about using that time.
Mm.
And then I would be happy that I saved the money.
Okay.
Whereas if I didn't have anything at the moment to do, like edit a video or whatever it may be, if I didn't have anything to do and I'd just be sitting there wasting my time, basically, then yes, I would spend the extra money and value my time more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like it really depends on the moment.
Mm-hmm. I
Yeah.
also feel like it depends on where I'm going. Like,
Yeah.
if I'm going to a beach in Barbados, I'm gonna pay more and get there early. Okay, like I want to
Mhm.
be out of this cold country super fast, and I want to be in the nice, warm, hot sun, laying on the beach in a bikini on Barbados. Can you like close your eyes for a second and actually imagine yourself just laying on the beach, relaxing? You know, getting the water between your toes with the sand. Like it's just a great feeling.
Mhm.
You know, like I can you guys imagine that? Like, close your eyes right now. Imagine yourself on the beach.
Mhm. That's something I would do if I won the lottery. I would take a trip instantly. That would be the first thing. See ya. But would you consistently be happy, or would it just be happy in the moment? Like we just discussed earlier.
No, I honestly think it would make life a lot easier because then I can help out, not just like my family, but I can achieve my goals with what I want to do a lot quicker.
Mm.
Like starting different companies that, I have goals for, it would be a lot quicker, I
Yeah,
think,
yeah.
for me.
Give
Because
you
I
a
wouldn't
head
have to
start.
worry. Yeah. I wouldn't have to worry about a financial situation of me starting up. I wouldn't have to, go to the bank and maybe take a loan if I don't want to go that route. Like it gives me more options
Mhm.
with my finances. So I feel like, yeah, winning the lottery would definitely, I think, overall increase my happiness.
Yeah, it would make life a lot easier and give you more options to do what you want to do with your life.
Mm-hmm.
So that would bring you time affluence and the money affluence,
Yeah,
right?
basically. It's a
You
win-win
would
situation.
you would get both. Um,
But I'm pretty sure the lottery wins would definitely bring more stress. I think it's a stress on a different level, is what I'm trying to say.
it would be for sure. You have a lot more things to think about.
People would be like, oh, I'm your 26th cousin. You don't remember me?
Pretty sure Eminem said that in one of his songs.
Did he?
All of a sudden, I got 90-some cousins or something like that in his song.
Oh, I gotta find that. Gotta find that song then. Can't
Yeah.
play, obviously, unfortunately, there's copyrights, but
Some of you probably know the song I'm talking about.
if you guys know the song, comment below the title of the song because
Yeah.
I want to hear it.
Yeah.
It's actually funny, but it's true. Like all of a sudden, everybody wants to be your friend.
Yup.
People are gonna ask you for money. And one thing my mom has always taught me was, don't lend out money that you can't afford to get back. I think that's how the quote goes that she told me.
Yeah. I understand what you're trying to say. Basically, if you're gonna lend it out, don't actually expect it back.
Yeah, and only lend out what you can afford.
Mm.
Because if I lend you, let's say $10, and the next week I'm like, hey, do you have my $10? I kind of need it. And then you're like, well, I don't have it,
Oh,
and I
okay.
kind of need it. You know what I mean? So she really stressed me about that. Like, don't lend people money that you can't afford to get back.
Yeah. Because
So,
if they can't give it back to you at the time that you need it,
mhm,
you're gonna put yourself in a bad spot.
yeah.
Yeah. No,
So
that makes sense.
yeah. So thanks, mom. That's a good lesson that you taught me.
Yep. To kind of wrap it up, do you feel that happiness is a temporary thing, or is it just something? Is it a state of being happy?
I think it's a state of being happy. I think you have to really dive deep and be happy with yourself first,
Mm.
and then look for those happy moments, like different goals that you want to achieve and different things like that. But I find it hard with social media because I feel like social media kind of makes you feel like I didn't feel like that before. I felt like when social media was coming up, I just felt like everyone was posting pictures, enjoying their life, posting like regular pictures on themselves. But now it's it almost makes you want to start that business, go out for your own. So you kind of you kind of can look at social media either as a bad thing or a good thing, like,
Hmm.
because it makes you realize that, oh, if that person can achieve this business, why can't you, like, you know what I mean, or why can't I? So it kind of makes me want to do more than what I thought I could before. But
Yeah.
at the same time, it's also like I feel like I'm not doing enough with my life,
Yeah.
so you can take it either or, and I'm gonna look at it as a positive
Yeah.
route.
It really is your perspective on it,
Yeah.
how you internalize what you're seeing.
Hmm.
Because social media definitely could be a positive and it definitely could be a negative.
And
Um,
unfortunately, some people, it really affects them negatively,
yeah. And it will
unfortunately.
make them sad. Other people will make them happy.
And it motivates other people.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But I do agree with the fact that I feel like happiness is more of a state of being, um, because you will have moments where you're super happy and excited about what's happening. But when nothing is happening and everything's just calm, are you sad or are you content?
Mm.
And I feel like that's the part of the definition that really makes the most sense to me.
Yeah.
Just being content with nothingness
Mhm.
almost.
She also asked the question in that interview. She asked, when was the last time you smiled or laughed? When was your last time?
I mean, during this podcast, we laughed a little bit. No, didn't we not?
Yeah, I guess so.
So doing this podcast makes us happy,
Yeah.
right?
If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and
So we are growing, and thanks for all the love.
thank you for all those that have subscribed
Mhm.
to our podcast. We greatly appreciate it. And yeah, like we're just having fun here. Open
Mhm.
conversation, just being ourselves.
If there are topics you want us to cover,
Mhm.
let us know as well.
Yeah. Oh, we want to start something new. So if you haven't yet followed on Instagram, we will leave the link to our Instagram in the description below,
Mhm.
and also just our name on the screen here. But we thought of maybe a fun thing that can include you guys if you're
Yeah.
interested in it. Everything will be anonymous.
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 Whatever. Everything's going to be that word. And we're gonna post weekly a question, maybe in our stories or maybe on our feed, but probably in our stories. And we want you guys to answer that, privately. I think that's why we should post it in our stories so that people don't have to feel like they're answering the question wrong. And we're gonna read everything privately, and then we're gonna post it and read it on our channel here on our next podcast, but we will not say your name if you
Yeah.
obviously don't want us to.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're just gonna post, maybe a social question, and we're curious to know what you guys are thinking about that topic.
Just random topics that come to our head that we feel
Mhm.
like is a good talking point.
Yeah, and we're gonna talk about it in the next podcast. So
Yeah.
it'll either lead to our next podcast around that topic, or it will be about our previous topic that we're talking about, like happiness, and then we'll read it, what you guys thought. If you guys are interested in that, we will post our first one as you are listening to this podcast right now. So go and answer that, and we're going to read all the answers in the next podcast.
All the answers?
Well, not all the answers. Well, I mean, it depends on how many people
Yeah.
respond.
Yes, but
right?
as we grow, it may be hard to do all.
Yeah, we'll probably read about 5 answers, but we're gonna try our best to, really kind of get this thing going and get people to actually talk because
Mhm.
I'm curious to know what other people's opinions are.
Yeah, like we're talking here about how we feel about topics, but we really actually want to know what you guys think and
Mhm.
build an actual community.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I do feel like I want to know how other people feel about the topics that we're discussing.
Mhm. So, did you guys move out of your city that you guys grew up in, or are you guys still actually living there? That's not going to be the question, but that's just a question that came to my head randomly, just because you mentioned that earlier in the vlog. You said how people tend to move away, but only 20 to 30 kilometers. Is
Yeah,
that what you said?
they basically still live in the same city, and if
Mhm.
they did move out, they move back.
Mm.
That was basically what the article was saying.
Yeah. Well, let us know what you guys are thinking, and don't forget to subscribe, like this video, watch our previous videos. Everything will be in the description below.
Hmm.
And if you have any other topics that you want us to talk about, let us know. And thank you for watching the happiness. Are you truly happy?
Or what is happiness?
What is your definition of happiness? And do you think you just have happy moments or are you happy overall? Let us know in the comment section below. And we look forward to hearing your answers. And we will see you guys in the next podcast.
Or you can click that link over there for our previous videos.
Yep. All right. Have a good day, guys, and enjoy your week.
Take care.
Peace. She was very selfish, and I learned a lot from her. And I'm really happy that, I took that route because if I didn't take that route, I mean, like I said, like, would I be here today? Because every path you take can lead to a different destination.